What's up, everybody? So, we're going to call this the ability to make your own decisions. So, I have a gentleman who I've been in contact with. He's been studying common law, and we're in two different perspectives. Number one, common law is individual right to justice law. Okay? Individual. It's not for the benefit of the public. It is you believe someone wronged you and you believe they violated your rights and you want justice. That's what common law is. Common law does not always have to go into a courtroom. Common law can be practiced in your house. That's why it's common. It's peasant law, right? This comes from the peasants. It comes from the barons of 1215 when they approached the king. But what the barons were just representatives and representation of the peasants, of the people who were angry at what the king was doing. But in reality, in a republic, we're supposed to be exercising common law anytime there's a controversy. We should use the rules of common law procedure to actually handle our conflicts before they go into a courtroom. For two reasons. Number one, you have a right to justice. And that injustice comes just in your engagements in your life. Two, when you engage at common law at home, and before you go to a courtroom, should it ever go to a courtroom for judgment, you have already collected the evidence that you will present in the courtroom. So it's an investigation, or it's an attempt. You've made a due diligent attempt to seek justice. You have been deprived of that justice because the other party refuses to open the lines of communication. That's retaliation. Or they try to leverage you or one-up you or intimidate you. So these are all conflicts that we have to deal with in a daily life. Common law is the process for which we can deal with our stuff just in our day-to-day life. Okay? So here's a conflict that I have. I don't have it, but it's one that I know people have. And the people who are doing it think that that's just the way it is for whatever reason. And they do what they do. All right. So let me tell you what happened. I've been communicating with a gentleman about common law, and he is giving me his perspective. And I don't completely agree with his perspective because in the examination, these foundational elements or sources that he's using are within legislative doctrine, which is U.S. Code and equity cases. Well, equity cases and U.S. codes are not common law. When you're going against a public officer at law, you can use those against them. But common law is the Constitution, the preamble is the people, and the Bill of Rights. That's the basis foundation of common law on the land. So you can't use equity cases as a foundational principle to support your authority. You can only use the preamble, the Bill of Rights, and whatever common law cases you have in your hands. Now, you can enforce on them all of these things because you're the superior power at common law under the preamble and under the Bill of Rights. So let me tell you, so the gentleman, and we've had this discussion, he's telling me things that involve U.S. Code in a case that I have in Sarasota County at common law to try and support, for me to use to support, but I can't use those because they're equity cases. and and they'll try and shift the court to equity. I'm trying to get them away from equity. So I'm trying to make this distinction. Well, what really happened was he got angry. And then it was, well, I told you what to do, and you're not listening, and you need to just listen. But I thought I had the right to make my own decisions. I thought that was like a freedom, liberty thing. I get to choose what I do and what I don't do. So when someone tells you something, they give you advice, they're giving you advice. What you do with it, that's your decision. And if I don't agree with it, I'm not going to do it. And then they get angry at me. Well, I didn't know that I was your subject, and I didn't know that I had to do everything you told me. That would make you my master, and I'm your slave. So think about that in a relationship. You tell someone, or someone tells you what to do. You decide not to do it because you don't want to do it, or you choose that it's not the best thing for you, and they get mad at you. Are they your master? And are you their slave? You might want to think about that. Godspeed.